That's not the one. That's the honest thing.
The whole picture out there. And the mountain Denali, I don't know if that's going to be visible today. It's visible about 20% of the time, but if it does come out, I'll make sure you guys see it. I know where it's at. It's always in the same spot, right? So if it does make itself visible, you'll see the mountain. And then the wildlife. The wildlife is kind of different. We don't have any control over the wildlife. Animals are doing what they want out here. Sometimes the animals are close to the road, sometimes they're far from the road, sometimes they're up and moving about, sometimes they seem to be sleeping, and we never know what we're going to see on any particular day. And you guys are the wildlife spotters on the bus. I'm pretty much occupied with driving the bus. I'm really not able to look for wildlife, and you probably don't want me swiveling my head around here looking out the windows. I'm looking out in front, okay? So you guys look for the wildlife. And if you see something that you want me to stop for out there, just yell out a nice loud stop. Just that word. If I hear moose or bear or something like that, I'll think you're talking to your neighbor about the one you saw yesterday. And I'll keep rolling. But if I hear stop, that only means one thing to a driver. And yell it out pretty loud. I'm standing on the engine right here. It's really noisy up here. You guys in back, you can't hear the engine, but I can't hear anything else. So already we've been climbing ever since we left the WAC. And we're surrounded primarily now by white spruce. And these white spruce are basically the toughest trees on the planet. These go all the way up to tree line, and we're kind of approaching tree line already. And if you look out on the hillsides around us, you'd see if we went up very much higher, we'd be above tree line. And this paved portion of the road doesn't quite climb that high. We can just get right up to tree line on the pavement, but further out in the park, we'll be well above the tree line. And we'll be up in alpine tundra.
New bus of yours, or?
Well, it's not so fancy this year, Fanny.
No?
We're kind of having a little, I don't know what it is, it's not quite as fancy as our other buses. Matter of fact, it's kind of like a school bus. So we're roughing it, Fanny.
Yeah.
You were queen of the roughing people out here. I mean, you turned it into an art.
Oh, I've
Legendary.
Yeah, I've tramped a few hills out there and killed a few bear.
The miners used to love to come to your house because you put on such a big feed.
You know, he's got the dope on me. He's getting a little ahead of me, actually, you know. Well, it's mighty nice seeing you all, folk. Why don't you all come up this way?
Come on up,
now
folks.
that you braved the rain anyhow.
This is Fanny Quigley, and she's an historic figure here in the park. She lived out in the Pantishna Hills with her husband Joe.
Go on and step on the
That's right.
porch.
He's going to make me blush here in a minute.
Get on the porch.
Joe and Fanny were miners. They started out working the claims out there, and then Fanny went on to become a legendary figure by establishing her cabin, and everybody wanted to stop in and drink some potato beer and chew some bear fat, so to speak.
Yeah. Got plenty of that. But I suppose you folks want to know about this cabin. Is that right? Yeah. Well, you're going to have to let me chew your ears off then, because I will. I tell you, as he said, I'm Fanny Quigley, yep. And Joe and me, we got our place, our claim up on Glacier Creek, 95 mile up the trail beyond the park border. Good friends we are with the park service here, and about once a year we come in to fetch our spring haul. So, just by chance I get to meet all you nice folk. It's quite a lucky streak here. Good to see you. So this cabin, they built it, the Road Commission folks, Alaska Road Commission, built it back in 24-25. First they put this railroad through. They done that about, in 17 they had that completed. Oh, I'm getting all my dates all screwed up. You know, once you get 60 years or so, it just... Anyway.
23 they had it completed.
Yeah, 23, they put that road in. And then Harry Karstens, my good friend Harry, he was the first superintendent of this park. He says, we gotta get a road through here so all them folk coming off the train can see this wondrous country. And you know, he tells that to them fancy pants in Washington. And they just, you know, they're about slippery as bear grease. They're not getting it together. So he says, fine, I'm going to grub the first 12 mile out myself. And he done it with maybe the help of 2 other rangers. He get about as far as, well, right here to Savage River, the first 12 mile, yep. And then Washington gets the dope. You know, they know they got a pot of gold here. Because as soon as this whole area start opening up, you know, we got access clear down from Seward all the way up on the railroad. And there's all kinds of wonderful resources up here with the miners and the coal fields. So Washington say, oh, we got to get the Alaska Road Commission out there to help that Park Service. And they done that. So Harry has the Park Service out here, or the Road Commission folks out here, and they build this wonderful cabin here. Yep, back in 24-25, they build this cabin. Now, how many of you folk build your cabin? Huh?
I got one.
You got one?
It's in my head right now.
Ah, he's one of those visionaries.
I
Yeah.
want to put one up.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, I tell you, folks, if you hang out here long enough, you just might need something like this to shelter you from the rain. So I tell you how. You knock down your timber there, the spruce, hewn it on 3 sides, and then you put the notches in the corners so it fit real snug. And then I say you probably don't want the wind coming through. You put your oakum in there. You got your hemp, the old rope, or the old burlap bags. Some folks use their old socks once they got too many holes in them, or the moss or mud. Whatever will fit in there, they put it in there. So that keeps out the air. And then for your roof, what you gonna do for a roof? Well, the way I remember this cabin, they changed it a bit, but it had the shiplap and then some roofing paper on it. I don't know what they're doing to this cabin.
Well, they brought in some cedar shake.
Yeah. So it's changed a little bit. But yeah, I got my good friend Harry, and he's out there convincing all kinds of good-for-nothings out there not to mess with the game in the park. Did you know that we got poachers out there? It's a darn shame, but it's true. You know, those scallywags that come to those construction camps working on the railroad, they just about did us in for game. And if it wasn't them, it was those meat marketers coming down from Fairbanks. Yep. And old Harry, he says, I know how to convince them to stay away from the park game. He used his fist once or twice, I tell you. Yep. You betcha. So anyway, Harry, he knows how to get those poachers. He's got his dog sled teams. They're out there dead of winter running maybe 600 mile a month. Can you imagine in the dead of winter, 600 mile around the whole boundary of this park here, yep. And they keep all those scallywags away. And you know, that's part of the reason why he really wanted that road there too, so that he could get more and more of you folk out here saying that there's something worth preserving. The more wonderful folk come in, you know, they can go back to Washington and say, it's everything they said it was up there. Yep, they need your help up there. So that's why he got that road going. That Harry, he's a smart one. So anyway, he's got his dog sled teams. He's got his road going through. They got these cabins about every 10 or 12 miles now. The road commission built them. When they'd finish one stretch of road, they'd move on and then build another cabin for base camp. See, that's why the road commission built these. You know, they needed a place for their cookhouse and to store their supplies. But now the rangers use them. Yep. Well, anyway, you folks look like you're just about wet enough, and I chewed your ears off plenty. But I tell you, when you get wet, tired, and hungry enough, you come up my way, cantition away. Yeah? And I'll serve you a good caribou stew and some good bread and some of that potato beer.
Yeah,
I know who wants some, too.
Yeah, right after work.
Yeah, all right. You come on up. Yeah.
They're serving it up out on the highway over at the Lynx Creek Pizza.
Ah, good, yeah. Maybe I should go that way too. Well, let me introduce somebody to you here. Hi, folks. My name is Tamara Miller, and I'm an interpreter with Denali Park Resorts. Fanny Quigley was a real woman. She lived in these parts from 1906 until 1944, and she tramped all across these hills, as Kevin said, hunting, shooting, trapping, mining, until she died in 1944. She died in her 70s, in her sleep, in her cabin up there, and only after building up quite a reputation for her hospitality and her skookum. So that's Fanny for you. The cabin has changed a little bit. In the 70s, they put new floorboards in and the new shakes on the roof. But besides that, it's, oh, and also they moved it. In 1940, the Park Service realized that it would serve them a lot better over here. It was part of a companion cabin, two cabins facing each other with a dog trot between. They cut it in half, moved this part over here, and the unlucky half got used for firewood. So, besides that, it's maintained most of its original integrity. So anyway, thank you very much for coming out.
Pushing the gray tabs in, you have to do it kind of simultaneously, and then sometimes...
Okay. You want to let me move out?
No, I'm fine. I'm just going to take a zoom around and we'll be...
Okay.
Well, it looks like we're getting skunked here, folks. My idea is that we probably head to the other side of Mount Margaret, carry on toward...
We have only get together in the months of November, December. The rest of the time we have separate societies. I don't see any. Looking pretty powerful. Yeah, we're looking at a little over 30 power. It'll range up to 60 power, but for our purposes, the light won't be strong enough. Okay, we're going to have to get this dual for her. We're going to have to get this. Yes. Okay, can you stand on your tongue? Okay, let me make sure. She sees the white on the green. Let me make sure it's good.
Yeah, so we're going to be flying kind of move up.
Similar to quail.
There's some more, yeah, there's some more there. So we'll sit here for a minute.
At least you can see it. You know,
They're going to come down, and there's 4 more up here, so they're going to come down toward it. Yeah, I'll open the door, but you gotta, it's important not to make too much noise. Do you want to see the little bird? You see them there? Oh, there they are. Now they've adapted to this environment by not only the heavy feathers that they have on their body, but also the ability to change color. Right now we're seeing them in their summer plumage. As the winter approaches, light entering their eye will decrease, and that will cause their pituitary glands to flood a chemical called melatonin. I've heard about that chemical. It's a sleep aid. In their physiology, it interacts with another part of their body and reduces a chemical called melanin. You might have heard about that one. That's in our system. It gives us our ability to fight ultraviolet light. There's our there coming out. And in their system, excuse me, sir, can you let this your grading stand in there too? The wheel well?
I see him.
Excuse me, sir.
What they take
Yeah, you let this little young lady stand down there in the wheel well.
It's a...
Okay. Yeah, give her a shot. Okay. So yeah, stand right down there. See those little comments. So that other chemical, that melanin, is decreased, and as it does, they turn completely white. And that's one of their adaptations. Willow ptarmigan are the state bird here. The other ptarmigan are... Oh, there comes another one. Another chick is popping out. She'll be coming down here, too. There she is.
Oh, that's cute too.
She feeds on willow leaf. They actually have to stockpile gravel because they're like chickens. And you see her now, you see that one eating a little gravel? They get a little gravel in their gizzard. Helps them digest their food. So in the wintertime, when it freezes, they have to have piles of it. Oh, look at it go. Knows that it's late. By September, that ptarmigan will be full size. To weigh about 1.5 pounds. You will be able to not distinguish it from its mother. She's calling. You hear her calling?
Yeah.
About 9. Yeah, in a booth. Okay, so we're going to have to pull out of the way right now. Yeah. So we're going to stay behind a little bit.
On this side, then.
He's crouching back over.
For prey, because they'll both prey on mice and voles.
I would be hiding. I would, you know, I would not be outside. I'd be in.
He's not a successful fox, so he's given a marking there. He just marked that terrain. And that's against other foxes. And other foxes will come by and smell that and go. Well, you can see the North Beach.